Okay, I want you to close your eyes and picture Westeros, but I need you to do a hard reset. Delete the mental image of the Starks fighting the Lannisters.
Right.
Forget the White Walkers marching past the wall, and definitely forget dragons burning down King's Landing, at least living
Yeah,
ones.
exactly. We are stepping into a Westeros that feels familiar,
Hmm.
but the rules completely changed. We're about 90 years before the events most people know.
Mm-hmm.
The Targaryens are firmly on the Iron Throne. In fact, there are almost too many of them. King Euron II, the good is ruling, and on the surface, the realm is at peace.
But there's a catch, isn't there? The last dragon died about 20 years ago, so that nuclear deterrent, the thing that made the Targaryens gods among men, is gone.
It's gone. Now they're just people with purple eyes and, a tendency toward madness, sure, but
Yeah.
vulnerable people.
And that creates this fascinating power vacuum.
It does. Without dragons, the monarchy has to rely on something else to maintain control. Laws, chivalry, the illusion of power. And into this uncertain, transitional world steps our protagonist. And he's nobody.
Ser Duncan the Tall. Dunk! He is the ultimate anomaly in this high fantasy setting. He's nearly 7 feet tall, incredibly strong, born in the absolute slums of Flea Bottom, and as he constantly reminds himself, he's thick as a castle wall.
He's not a secret genius. He's not a chosen one with some magical destiny. He's a hedge knight. And we should probably define that because it shapes his entire existence.
Yeah, let's unpack the economics here. A hedge knight is basically the gig worker of Westeros, right?
That's a perfect analogy. A landed knight has a castle, peasants, and a steady income. A hedge knight has a horse, a sword, and sleeps under a hedge. They are itinerant mercenaries with a fancy title.
So most of them are just robbers, really.
Pretty much. They wander from tourney to battle, just hoping for a payday to keep them fed for another week.
But Dunk tries to be different. And his story doesn't start with a glorious battle. It starts with a funeral. And honestly, this opening scene, it just sets the tone for everything.
It's incredibly grounding. We find Dunk digging a grave for Sir Arlen of Pennytree, the old man who raised him. It's raining, it's miserable.
And he has nothing.
Absolutely nothing. He has the old man's armor, a rusty sword, and exactly 3 copper pennies to his name.
And this leads to the first major ambiguity, which I think is just brilliant. Dunk claims Sir Arlen knighted him before he died. But there were no witnesses.
None. No septon, no crowd. Just Dunk and a dying man in the rain. So we have to ask, is Dunk actually a knight? Or is he just a giant guy stealing a dead man's identity?
And it's deliberately left open.
It is. He likely wasn't dubbed. And he's suffering from this massive imposter syndrome because of it. But that's the thematic hook. Dunk decides to act like a knight, even if he doesn't have the paperwork.
Right. He takes the armor, climbs on the horse, and decides to ride to the Ashford tourney to try and, make a living.
And on the way, he picks up the world's strangest sidekick, a bald, insolent, weirdly intelligent stable boy named Egg.
The visual dynamic is classic comedy. You have Dunk, this massive body with a pretty simple mind, and Egg, this tiny, fragile kid with a razor-sharp intellect.
As we quickly find out, Egg is actually Aegon Targaryen,
A prince.
a royal prince who shaved his head to hide his distinctive silver gold hair.
Which begs the question, why is a royal prince hanging out in a stable covered in horse manure?
Because the Targaryen family tree at this point is crowded and messy. Egg is the 4th son of a 4th son. He's so far down the line of succession that nobody's really watching him.
And he wants to see the real world.
Exactly. Not from a castle window, but from the dirt level.
Yeah.
He wants to understand the people he might one day rule, though, he never expects to rule anything.
So the odd couple is formed. They get to the Ashford tourney. And this is where the fantasy of knighthood just crashes headfirst into reality.
Oh, completely. Dunk thinks it's going to be like the songs. He'll ride in, win the joust,
Yeah.
be a hero. What actually happens?
He gets laughed at. It's humiliating.
The bureaucrats running the tourney look at his rope belt and his piecemeal armor. They just try to bar him. It's a stark look at the class system. In this world, if you're poor, you don't get to be a hero. You get asked for your paperwork.
He has to sell his horse's armor just to buy food.
Yeah. But then the inciting incident happens, and it involves the villain of this first chapter, Prince Aerion Brightflame.
And we know the Targaryens flip a coin for madness. Aerion's coin definitely landed on the wrong side.
Aerion is a nightmare. He's the dark reflection of Targaryen exceptionalism. He's beautiful, wearing this armor covered in flames, but he's just so cruel.
He attacks a puppet show. a puppet show.
Because he thinks a puppet dragon dying in the play is an insult to his house, he starts breaking the puppeteer girl's fingers in front of everyone.
And here is the moment that defines Dunk. A room full of actual knightsmen with lands, titles, fancy cloaks. They just stand there and watch.
They do nothing, because Aerion is a prince.
But Dunk, the guy from Flea Bottom who might not even be a knight, he steps in.
And he doesn't just ask him to stop. Dunk kicks a prince of the blood in his stomach and punches the teeth out of his mouth.
It's insane. It's a suicidal act of bravery. You do not touch a dragon.
The consequences are immediate. Dunk is arrested. He's facing execution or, mutilation. But he demands a trial by combat.
And Aerion, being the drama queen he is, demands a trial of 7.
This is a deep cut from Westerosi history. It's not one-on-one, it's 7 knights against 7 knights.
Aerion thinks this guarantees his win because who is Dunk? He's a nobody.
Who would risk their life fighting 7 royal knights just to save a Hedge Knight? And this is where the narrative pivots from an adventure story to a study on nobility. Dunk has to beg for help. And surprisingly, he finds it.
He finds it in the most unexpected places.
A cynical mercenary, a crazy old jouster who just wants one last fight, and eventually the shock of the century, Prince Baelor Breakspear.
The crown prince, the heir to the throne.
The heir himself.
Okay, we need to really stress this. Why would the crown prince fight against his own nephew alongside a peasant?
Because Baelor represents the ideal of what a king should be. He sees that Aerion is a monster who disgraces their house. And he sees that Dunk, this huge, clumsy boy, is the only one who actually understands chivalry.
So he's protecting justice itself.
Exactly. He realizes that if the law doesn't protect the innocent, the law is worthless.
The fight itself is brutal, though. It's not glorious at all.
No, it's mud, blood, and chaos. They win, Dunk is cleared, but there is a massive cost.
Baelor dies.
Baelor dies. His skull is crushed in the melee by his own brother, Maekar. The realm loses its best hope for a wise king, all because Dunk did the right thing.
That's a heavy takeaway. Do the right thing and the best guy dies.
That is the grit of this era. Being a hero has consequences. But Dunk survives, and Prince Maekar Egg's father sees something in Dunk. He realizes his son Egg needs to learn humility to avoid becoming another Aerion.
So he lets Egg stay with Dunk as his squire.
And the team is solidified. Dunk, the Hedge Knight, and Egg, the Secret Prince.
Which takes us to the next chapter of their lives, the Sworn Soar. And the tone shifts dramatically here. If the first story was a sports movie, this one feels like a gritty Western.
A Western is the perfect analogy. We jump forward a couple of years. Dunk and Egg are in the Reach, serving an old, impoverished knight named Ser Eustace Osgrey. It's the middle of a massive drought. The heat is oppressive. You can practically taste the dust.
And Dunk is miserable. He's not winning glory. He's counting copper pennies again. He's worried about his horse, Thunder, who's getting old and lame.
We have to talk about the horse. Dunk says a knight without a horse is no knight at all. His entire identity is tied to his economic status. If the horse dies, he stops being a warrior and becomes a beggar.
So this story is really about the economics of feudalism.
Fundamentally. And the plot seems simple at first. Ser Eustace, their boss, claims his neighbor has built a dam and stolen his water. The neighbor is Lady Rohan Weber, the Red Widow.
And Eustace paints this picture of her as this witch who murders her husbands and steals land.
Right, so Dunk gears up to go fight the Wicked Witch. But when he gets there, the script flips. Rohan isn't witch. She's a highly competent administrator.
She built the dam because her peasants were dying of thirst.
Right. She's tough because she has to be in a world ruled by men.
So the evil lord trope gets deconstructed. Ser Eustace, the guy Dunk swore an oath to, turns out to be the problem. He's not just poor, he's a liar. And worse, we find out he was a traitor.
Yes, during the Blackfire Rebellion, this is the political context we need. It happened about 15 years prior. It was a civil war between 2 Targaryen brothers, King Daeron, the intellectual, and Daemon Blackfire, the warrior.
And Daemon was the cool guy.
He's the cool guy with the abs and the famous sword. Half the realm rose up for him because they wanted a warrior king. They lost.
So Ser Eustace backed the loser and lost everything. Now he's bitter, clinging to past glories. But Dunk is stuck. He is a sworn sword.
And that's the central conflict. In the Hedge Knight, the bad guy was a psycho. Easy choice. Here, the enemy, Lady Rohan, is actually right and the boss is wrong.
So Dunk has to navigate the gray area. He learns that loyalty isn't black and white.
And there's also some palpable tension between Dunk and the Red Widow. She's highborn, he's gutterborn. But she respects him.
She does.
She respects him because he's the only man who tells her the truth to her face. There's a scene where they negotiate, and Rohan demands an apology. Dunk cuts his own cheek to pay the blood price for a peasant's mistake. It's visceral.
It proves he values the small folk over his own vanity, and then she takes a lock of his hair. It's surprisingly intimate for a story about drought and politics.
It is. But ultimately, they part ways. Dunk can't stay and be her guard captain. He belongs on the road.
He takes Egg and heads north, which leads us to the third, and in my opinion, the most complex adventure, the Mystery Knight.
Oh, absolutely. We go from a Western to a spy thriller. The atmosphere in this one is just paranoid from the moment they arrive.
It really is. They are traveling to a wedding tourney at White Walls, but the roads are full of whispers. They pass a traitor's head on a spike, the flesh peeling off in the wind.
The realm is tense because there are rumors that the Blackfire pretenders, the sons of the guy who lost the Civil War, are plotting something.
And Dunk, true to form, strolls right into the middle of a conspiracy without realizing it. He enters the tourney because he's broke again. The prize. A dragon egg.
A literal dragon egg, worth a king's ransom. But the mystery knight of the title isn't Dunk. It's a character he meets named Sir John the Fiddler.
I love the Fiddler. He's charismatic, he likes Dunk, he dreams of dragons, but he's a little delusional.
He's Daemon II Blackfire. He is the pretender. The entire wedding is a front. The lords gathering there are all former traitors planning to crown the Fiddler and start the war all over again.
And the irony is, Dunk likes him. Dunk is just thinking, nice guy, good musician, treats me with respect, while Egg is freaking out.
Yeah, Egg recognizes the political symbols everyone is wearing. It highlights Dunk's political innocence versus Egg's education.
Yeah.
But things get serious when Egg tries to send a message to his father and gets caught.
The rebel lords realize they have a hostage, a Targaryen prince.
Suddenly, Dunk isn't fighting for a puppet or a stream. He's fighting to stop a civil war and save his squire.
And this is where we get a look at the true definition of merit. We have to talk about Sir Glendon Flowers.
Oh, Glendon of the Pussy Willow.
The name alone just invites mockery.
Exactly. He's another bastard knight, even lower status than Dunk. The rebel lords frame him for stealing the dragon egg to get him out of the way. They torture him, break his ribs.
But Glendon demands a trial by combat to prove his innocence. This is the mirror to Dunk's trial in the first story, isn't it?
It's a perfect mirror. You have a battered, broken bastard fighting the king, the Fiddler. And the Fiddler has the famous sword, Blackfire. He should win.
That he doesn't.
He doesn't. Glendon destroys him. It's a pivotal moment because it shatters the Blackfire myth. The rebels believed Daemon II was invincible because he had the look of a hero. Glendon proves that propaganda doesn't stop a lance to the chest.
It's just like Dunk's journey. Your name doesn't matter. Your reputation is what you defend with your life.
And then the real power arrives, Bloodraven.
Okay, we need to explain Bloodraven.
Yeah.
He is the hand of the king, an albino sorcerer, and the bastard uncle of both the king and the rebel.
If you're familiar with the wider lore, this is the guy who eventually becomes the three-eyed raven in the tree. But here, he's in his prime. He shows up with an army and crushes the rebellion before it even truly starts.
And the interaction between Dunk and Bloodraven is chilling. Bloodraven basically says, I knew about this plot the whole time. I let it happen to gather all the traitors in one place.
It's the contrast between Dunk's honor and Bloodraven's pragmatism. Dunk saves individuals. Bloodraven saves the state, but he does it by being a ruthless police state operator. He doesn't care about honor. He cares about order.
So, looking at these three stories together, what is the synthesis? What are Dunk and Egg actually doing for each other?
It's a symbiosis. Dunk teaches Egg the reality of suffering. Egg is going to grow up to be King Aegon V, known to history as Aegon the Unlikely.
Right.
And because of these years sleeping in ditches and getting rained on, he becomes king who is obsessed with the rights of the common people. He tries to pass laws to protect peasants from lords.
He learns that from Dunk. He learns that the small folk are people, not just resources.
Precisely. But what does Egg give Dunk? He gives him validity. Dunk constantly doubts himself. Am I a knight? Am I a fraud? But when a royal prince looks at you and says, you are my knight, sir, you believe it.
There's that mantra Dunk uses when he's scared. Oh, can iron guard me well, or else I am dead and doomed to hell.
It's a prayer for physical protection. But metaphorically, Dunk is the oak and iron. He is the sturdy, unbending moral center in a world that is fluid and corrupt.
While the highborn lords, the mystery knights, are shifting and treacherous.
The Hedge Knight is solid.
It's a total inversion of the fantasy trope. Usually the hidden prince is the hero because of his magical blood.
Yeah.
Here, the hidden prince is only a hero because a homeless guy taught him how to be a decent human being.
That's the core of it. True knighthood isn't a title you get from a king. It's a behavior. It's standing in the rain, hungry, facing down a prince because he's hurting a child.
Before we wrap up, though, I have to ask the darker question. We know the future. We know Egg becomes King Aegon V. We know he tries to be a good king. But we also know how his story ends. The tragedy of Summerhall.
It is the shadow that hangs over every page of these, otherwise lighthearted adventures.
For those who don't know, explain Summerhall briefly.
Decades later, King Aegon V gathers his family and friends, including Dunk, who is now the Lord Commander of the King's Guard, at a palace called Summerhall. But Aegon had become obsessed with bringing dragons back. He thought dragons were the only way to force the lords to obey his pro-peasant laws.
He wanted the nuclear option back to do good.
Exactly. He tries a ritual to hatch dragon eggs. It goes wrong. The palace burns down. Aegon dies. Dunk dies. It is a massive tragedy that wipes out a huge chunk of the Targaryen family.
So here is the provocative thought I want to leave everyone with. We just spent this whole time talking about how Dunk taught Egg that you don't need magic or dragons to be a true leader. You just need honor and grit.
Right.
So why, in the end, did Egg forget that? Was the resistance of the corrupt system just too strong? Did he realize that being a good man wasn't enough to change the world and he needed fire?
It's the ultimate tragedy of the series. Perhaps the Hedge Knight's lesson works for a man but fails for a king. Or, perhaps, as the Targaryens always prove, if you play with fire, you eventually get burned.
Even if you have oak and iron to guard you.
Even then.
A cheerful thought to end on, but that is the reality of Westeros gold paint over rust. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.
Keep your shield up.